easy. Bukra insha'Allah. That's what the word procrastination is easily translated as. Bukra insha'Allah. Tomorrow, God willing, procrastination. I'll leave it till later. I will do that later. I'll do that at another time. Procrastination is destruction. It is a deception of shaitan. Act on your knowledge. Don't procrastinate. Don't leave it to say your prayers. Don't leave it to approach Allah and get closer to Allah. Don't leave it to get that obligatory knowledge that you have. No. Act on your knowledge, brothers and sisters. And this is how we found the Sahaba. This is how we found the companions of the Prophet. There is a narration, I don't remember the names of the companions involved, but one of them, there is a battle, a jihad taking place, a battle. And one of the companions asks another of the companion, oh such and such, is it true that the Prophet ﷺ said that if I die fighting in the path of Allah, I will go to paradise? He says, yes, that is true. I heard the Prophet ﷺ say that. So he was eating some dates, he threw them away, and he went and fought and died. SubhanAllah, benefits in this small narration. First of all, he had some idea that there was a saying of the Prophet ﷺ. But you know what he wanted to do? He wanted to authenticate it. He wanted to make sure that this really was from the messenger. Let me see, did Muhammad ﷺ really say this? Is this really from the deen? And once he found out and once he realized, yes, this is from the deen, what did he do? He went and acted on it. He didn't procrastinate. He didn't sit there saying, oh yes, thank you, that's very interesting. Now let me see what else I can do. Now, and a lot of people are like that, brothers and sisters. People want to come and ask me questions. And as I was giving this talk, it came to my mind, and I'm not going to mention anyone specifically, but people come and ask me questions. Oh brother, do you think such and this and that is in my life? Do you think I should happen? Do you think I should do this, or what do you think I should do? Now some things, it's a matter of ijtihad, it's a matter of interpretation. In fact, very often people know their own situation better than I could ever know it. But sometimes there is a clear Sharia ruling that no, this is haram. This is forbidden. Now, I wonder how many people who come to me and ask me a question and I say, no, this is haram. A sister may ask me, I have a husband, he doesn't pray, he doesn't practice, he's committed adultery. From the opinion and the understanding, what I know is that a person who commits adultery has to divorce his wife. It is haram for them to remain married. It is haram. Has to divorce his wife. So now you've asked a question, you got the answer, now act on it. Do I have to wear hijab? The proof is this and this. Do I have to grow my beard? The proof is this and this. Act on it. Don't procrastinate. Because if you leave it, you'll leave it, and believe me, it'll get harder and harder to do it. Did anyone ever do any high diving? Did anyone? No. Okay. Well, I used to do high diving. When I was young, I used to do high diving. And they used to have this board, I don't know how high it was high. Maybe, I don't know, 20 meters. It was very high. And we used to, me and my brother and my friends, there were actually 3 boards. There was a little bouncy board, that was easy, bouncy, bouncy, splosh, okay? Then you had the other one, okay? That was about, maybe that was a 5 meter, 12 meter board, I don't remember. And that had a bouncy board on it as well. It was very easy just to jump off the concrete bit. If you had a bit more guts, you'd bounce off the bouncy bit, okay? But then the other board, boy, that was high. That was high up. Okay, and you look at it and you'd spend half an hour looking at it and say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. It's not that far, it's not that far. So eventually, you walk up, you get up there, and then you walk to the edge, and believe me, everyone looks like little ants crawling around. And then not only do you look down on the pool, because the pool is clear, you look down to the bottom of the pool, which of course is another 10 meters, right? And suddenly you think you're up in space. And you're thinking, if I move this way or that way, my back is going to split open, it's going to hurt for a week. And believe me, the more you look and the longer you look, the harder it gets. And the time you usually do it is when you walk up, you know what you have to do. You walk up, you stand on the edge, you look up, and you just jump. Well, you don't jump, actually. You let yourself fall and you dive. That's when you'll do it. But when you procrastinate, most of the time, you'll chicken out, and you know what? Everyone is looking at you. They're all looking at you. Is he going to jump? He's gone up. They're seeing, everyone's going, is he going to do it? And then you chicken out, and you walk down, everyone goes, oh, like that. And you have to take the embarrassment of walking all the way back down and bouncing off the bouncy board. In fact, even when you chicken out of the top one, you don't even have the guts anymore to do the second one. You have to go back to the little bouncy board on the bottom. Really? And it's true. And that's true for a lot of things. A lot of actions. And that's what happens when we procrastinate. Sure, sometimes you think about it, you calculate it, and you still do it. But most of the time, it doesn't work like that. So actions is what we need. Actions which are sincere and actions that are based on knowledge, that are based on a clear understanding of the Sharia. Now there's one final thing I want to talk about. There's one final thing that I want to talk about. And that is really the actual title. Actions speak louder than words. I want to spend just a little bit of time reminding ourselves of something. That it is much more often the things that we do rather than the things that we say that affect people. And the history of Islam bears testimony to that, brothers and sisters. The history of Islam, from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to his Sahaba, to those people who spread Islam, our pious predecessors who spread Islam across the face of this earth. And it still holds true today. We find that actions speak louder than words. Remember the incident? We all know the story of the Jewish woman who used to throw rubbish on the Prophet ﷺ when he lived in Mecca. We all know that story. How the Prophet ﷺ, every day he went out of his house, she would wait for him and throw rubbish and throw rubbish. One day Rasulullah ﷺ walks out of his house, goes down. Wait a minute, I didn't get my usual delivery today. I mean, that's not what he thought, but something like that, because he didn't get thrown with rubbish. But this is Rasulullah ﷺ. What did he think? Now, I know what we would think: dirty Yehudi, kafir, dog. Khabith. Huh? I hope she's dead. It's us. Yeah? Huh? This is us. Okay? No, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wasn't like us. Rasulullah was concerned about his neighbor. And we know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed and told us about the rights of our neighbor. In fact, Jibreel used to tell Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam about the rights of the neighbor so much, he thought that Allah was going to reveal that the neighbor should share in inheritance. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was a person who cared about people. Even his enemies, he cared about them. And he loved and desired and hoped and prayed that they would be guided to Islam. So what did he do? He went to inquire about this woman, to see whether she was well, to see whether she was okay. Is there anything that he could do for her? He is her neighbor. When she heard about this, she said, "This is truly the character of a prophet of God." Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. This is actions speaking louder than words. This behavior, this character, this nobility of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam did something which preaching and words and talking could never do and could never accomplish. And believe me, if we study the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if we look to the way the Sahaba were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it used to impress people so much. One man said, I've been to the court of Caesar, and I've been to the court of the Persian emperor. I have seen rulers, but I have never seen people respect someone as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was respected by his companions. And this moved him and impressed him so much. And the generosity of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was overwhelming. He used to give and give and give. He used to give as if there was no such thing as poverty. He would give as if there was no such thing as poverty. One day a man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked the Prophet for something. The Prophet said to him, you see this valley of sheep? There was a whole hillside filled with sheep. He said, it's all yours, take it. The man went back to his people. He said, oh my people, embrace Islam. Because Muhammad gives, and Muhammad gives as if there is no poverty. Actions speak louder than words. We see how Muslims showed the example of justice. There is the famous story how Amr, the general who opened Egypt, struck an Egyptian Copt with his whip. Because he was in the way, he's riding on his horse, and he's just a Christian. He whipped him out of the way. But this man, he knew and heard about the justice of Umar. So he traveled from Egypt to Mecca to seek an audience with Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he himself stood in front of Umar. Subhanallah. An Egyptian peasant standing in front of the ruler of the whole of the Muslims and complained to him about his treatment of his general. And Amr happened to be there at the time, making tawaf. And Umar ibn al-Khattab called him. He said to him, is it true what this man says? Amr looked at him, yes, it's true, so what? Umar took his stick, he gave it to this Egyptian Christian. He said, hit him as he hit you. The man said, no, Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Actions speak louder than words, brothers and sisters.